What's up, guys? It's Harley here again for Better on the MMA. Here to give you guys my quick picks for this weekend's UFC Fight Night card. Sandhagen versus Vera. Before we jump into this, I want to remind you guys that this is just my quick pick video, guys. We're going to run through the card really quickly. This is without me watching any film. So like I said, I'm just going off what I've seen on paper so far and what I've seen in the past. With that being said, Zach and I will be back later on this week to give you guys our full breakdowns, predictions, parlays, and everything else you need to know about this card. So we'll be back later on this week. Be sure to like our YouTube channel at Dead on It MMA. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Dead on It MMA, and leave your comments below. Feel free to interact with us, guys, and let us know what you think. With that being said, we're going to jump right into it. First fight on the card, we got Tamires Vidal versus Haley Cohen. Tamires Vidal is a little more seasoned. Looked really good in her last fight, and she also showed that she can mix it up as well. She's not just so reliant on her ground game. She had a vicious knockout in her last fight as well. With that being said, Cohen making her UFC debut. If you guys remember correctly, Cohen was supposed to fight just a couple weeks ago, but had to pull out the day before the fight due to a medical issue. But they got that squared away, and she's ready to rock and roll for this weekend. Cohen also coming out of the Contender Series, fought a very tough opponent in her last fight and got a close decision victory, which earned her the contract. Not a bad win. Like I said, I just think Tamires Vidal is a little more seasoned. It's got a few more weapons and can mix it up a little bit more. So with that being said, I'm leaning towards Vidal in this one. Fight number 2, we've got Vinicius Salvador versus Victor Altamirano. Victor Altamirano. I'm gonna go with Victor Altamirano. Salvador is another guy making his UFC debut. Altamirano has experience in the big show. I'm expecting a striking heavy matchup that could go either way, but I think Altamirano will ultimately edge out Salvador on the feet, be a little more technical. But don't sleep on Salvador, man. He's another guy that's got real power, and he can change the fight on a dime, man. You know, the guy's got real power. Always lying for a knockout, but I gotta lean towards Salvador, man. I think he'll edge him out on the feet. Fight number 3, we got Miguel Torres fighting Trey Ogden. I'm leaning towards Trey Ogden in this one. I know he's the underdog on paper, but he's been around for a while, fighting Torres, who's just getting into the UFC. I think Ogden's striking will be the biggest difference in this one, just looking at it on paper. Like I said, you know, Ogden is the underdog, but he's seasoned. He's been around for a long time, and I think that'll help him carry in the victory in this fight, man. Fight number 4, we've got CJ Vergara versus Daniel Da Silva. I got to go with Vergara here. You know, Da Silva's on a 3-fight losing streak, and he's also been stopped in all 3 of those fights. He's really struggled as of late, and I've just got to be quite honest. He's got to show me a little bit more for me to pick him. You know, he struggled a lot as of late, and he's just got to show me more, man. You know, the guy has been stopped in his last 3 fights, really struggled. So, with that being said, I got to go with CJ Vergara. Fight number 5, we got Trevin Giles versus Preston Parsons. I'm leaning towards Trevin Giles here. He's fought and beaten a better opposition. He's got more tools than Parsons, and he's been in the UFC for longer. You know, some of these guys, without going too deep into the details right here, some of these guys are fighting. You know, you got some guys with good UFC experience fighting guys that are either making their debuts or just getting into the UFC. And I think that's going to be a big factor on this card for a lot of guys, man. Fight number 6, we got Steven Patterson fighting Lucas Alexander. I'll be quite honest with you. I need to look closer to all of these fights, but especially this one. But with that being said, from what I've seen from Patterson so far, he's tough, he's durable, and I think he's the more explosive fighter. Lucas Alexander hasn't fought the best opposition either. Also, really struggled in his UFC debut in his last fight. He got stopped and really got overwhelmed in that fight. So, if we're just going off of past experience, right now I gotta lean with Steven Patterson. Moving on to the next fight number 7, we got Daniel Pineda versus Tucker Lutz. I really like Tucker Lutz, man. Lutz is fun to watch. I think he's a better striker and has more tools. He can mix it up a little more, and that'll to help him get the win. And also, if you take a look back at Pineda's last few fights, he doesn't have the best cardio. And Lutz is the guy that keeps coming, gonna put a lot of pressure on you and stay in your face, force you to fight. And I think that's gonna be a big factor in this fight, man. Lutz just keep continuing to put the pressure on him and wearing him down in this one. Fight number 8, we got Chidi Anjikawani versus Albert Derviv. Sorry if I butchered his name right there. I don't have Zach with me to help me. I don't know these names. But with that being said, I'm going with Chidi Anjikawani. He's super strong and explosive with legit power. Derviv has had trouble with his chin in the past. His chin has struggled to hold up in the past. And like I said, Chidi Anjikawani is super explosive, tough, good athlete. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference in this one. Fight number 9, we got Alex Perez fighting Manel Kape. I'm leaning towards Manel Kape in this one. Really good athlete, good power, and explosive. Perez has a lot of experience, but I think Manel Kape is ultimately too explosive and too powerful for him on the feet. But a veteran like Perez, who's been around a long time, who's seen a lot, you never know. You can't sleep on a veteran like that. So we'll see. Could be an interesting matchup. Moving on to the next fight on the card, we've got Andrea Lee versus Macy Barber. I'm gonna be honest with you, Zach and I have both have ties to Andrea Lee. She's been around our area. We're really familiar with her, so we're not gonna touch much on her fight. We don't want to sound biased, but with that being said, good fight here. 2 good fighters, 2 fun fighters to watch. And hoping our girl Andrea Lee can come away with the victory, man. Moving on to the next fight number 11. We got Nate the Train, baby. Nate the Train, always fun to watch. Fighting Austin Lingo. Nate the Train, man. Neither guy has been super active, but Lingo hasn't fought in almost a year and a half. Nate's got really good cardio and always gained, and he's fought the better opposition. Nate's always going to be in your face, force you to fight. And looking forward to seeing Nate the Train get back in the octagon, man. So I got to go with Nate the Train, man. I think his cardio going to be a big difference, and I see him being able to outstrike Lingo. Fight number 12, moving on to the co-main event, we got Holly Holm versus Yana Santos. I got to go with Holly Holm right here. She's definitely the better striker, former world champion in the UFC and in boxing. Has fought the better opposition. Another thing to really keep in mind here, if you look at it on paper, Santos is coming off a KO loss to Irene Aldana, who's no joke. But yeah, she's coming off a KO loss to Aldana. who Holly Holm already beat in one of her previous fights. So that kind of gave me a little insight as well on this one. Yeah, I got to lean towards Holly Holm. Also, you saw Holly Holm in the past couple fights, getting inside, getting in the clinch, and holding her opponents against the cage. She might look to get some takedowns here and there. So yeah, I got to lean towards Holm. She is the older fighter, but on paper, more experienced, man, and I think her striking will help her get through this one. Moving on, fight number 13, main event. We got Marlon Tito Vera taking on Corey Sandhagen. Very close fight. I expect a striking heavy matchup that could go either way, but I'm leaning towards Sandhagen. I think Sandhagen's a little more technical and mixes it up a little bit more, and I think he can take Vera down if he wants to. If you look at Marlon Vera's last couple fights, he's been susceptible to a couple takedowns early, especially early on in the fight. So I think if Sandhagen wants to take it there, he can do that as well. With that being said, I expect a fun, close matchup, but I got to go with Sandhagen, man. Yeah, and that'll do it for this weekend's Quick Picks video. Or this week's Quick Picks video, should I say. Before I sign out of here, I want to remind you guys, please like the video, spread the word for us, and continue to follow us, guys. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bet on an MMA, and we're going to be back later in the week to give you guys our full breakdowns and predictions for this weekend's card to go along with our parlays. Until then, you guys have a good one. Peace.